Hey, we're two fat guys.
And we just watched X-Men First Class.
What? Yeah. Yep.
Which was your first time
Mm-hmm.
doing it. I'm more curious as to what you think than...
I mean, it's good. It was still X-Men. So I'm like, yeah, okay. They had all the fun, like, oh, everyone knows about what these characters do when they, so let's have fun little nods towards things. I mean, yeah, it was better than Origins Wolverine.
Yeah.
Not to give it a super low bar, but I mean, it was certainly better than that. So, like, going in, I knew it wasn't going to be the worst X-Men movie. I'm like, all right. At worst, I'm looking at the second worst X-Men movie. Yeah, no, it's solid. A lot of fun stuff in it. I would have liked to see more characters. I think
more characters or better characters.
A little bit of both.
Because I know
maybe more out of the characters they have. A little bit seems like, all right, well, we have enough for like a training montage, and because like they wanted to focus so much on like the Magneto and Xavier story, which I agree with is really good, really lots of good stuff to do there. They're like, okay, we need the big climax action scenes. We want all these mutants to do like cool looking stuff. So we have like the fun training montage, and the training montage is really good, and the fight was really good. But I would have liked to see more with the mutants.
Yeah, like they didn't
like Havoc. Like okay, yeah, he tries for a while, and then like okay, now he controls it, and then he's in the fight, and not a whole lot. He doesn't have a whole lot of an arc to him.
Yeah, I think between that and then we barely get to know the good guy mutants, and then I don't even think they mentioned the name of McTornadoes.
He's a Purple Suit Tornado Man.
Yeah, I mean.
He's incredible. Purple Suit Tornado Man.
Riptide?
It's terrible. It's a terrible mutant power.
Yeah.
The whole time I was like, please go to Africa and have Storm just go, LOL. Cancel your tornado and lightning bolt.
Yeah, they never really went into any of them at all.
Yeah. And the whole time, like, I know it's supposed to be whatever Nightcrawler's dad, but you're sitting there going, fucking, remember how cool Nightcrawler is? I miss that guy. I was really upset by the misuse of Darwin. And it was probably just because what I know him best from is the...
Yeah, that's... Like, once you told me the story about Darwin, I was like, oh, man, they should have done something like that. Yeah, I loved him in this movie until you told me that story.
Yeah, the best use of Darwin is in World War Hulk. For those of you who haven't read it, I mean, spoiler alert, it happens early, but whatever. So Hulk's, like, killing everyone. Like, fucking just everyone. And he's at Xavier's school because Xavier is one of the people on his kill list. Because Planet Hulk's a remake of Kill Bill. And it should be... So he's fighting all these mutants, all the students come out, and Darwin's power is to evolve to adapt to the situation, and he like gets ready to fight him, and he just disappears, and then next page you see he like teleported to the other fucking side of the world. Like that's what his power said. Like, nope, I'm out. I'm good. And I like just there's a lot of fun little jokes like that, and he's a good character, and I'm like, okay, we have a good stable of mutants, a lot of different stuff you can do, and it almost feels like they killed him to make the danger seem real, and they didn't know what to do with him. And at this point, because I'm going to keep talking about the bad things of this, I really like the movie. It's just easier to talk about bad things.
Yeah, it's like
oh man, remember that one part?
Yeah, so good.
So it's easier to point out problems.
Like, if you don't know by watching that Michael Fassbender is amazing in this, then there's nothing we can tell you to change your mind.
Yeah, you get to the end and you think that like you don't know what he would do in the last fight. Like even thinking like, okay, well Darwin, how would you use him in the last fight? Like if he can evolve to any situation, why isn't he doing everything? And it's kind of a tricky power to deal with. It's really funny and it's fun to do cool small things like that. But it's hard to think and then like, okay, well if we kill someone, it'll show the danger's real. It'll make them be like, oh yeah, Kevin Bacon's serious business here. And we don't do it in the end, so let's have it be Darwin. And I'm not saying that's definitely what happened, but I could see that being what happened.
Yeah.
And it makes me a little sad because I really like the character of Darwin. I love the recruiting people montage though.
Yeah.
Oh man, and Wolverine's cameo was like I knew it was coming. Like I knew it was in there. I knew at one point like Wolverine's gonna be a cameo. They're gonna walk into him and be like, nope, get away.
Yeah.
But fucking just perfect. Great use of the one F-bomb. Just 10 seconds long. The only thing was I was sitting there going like, okay, with the awful X-Men Origins Wolverine, does he have like mental claws at this point? What has he experienced? Where's he at in life? Where are they trying to recruit him from? And I was like, I should not examine this too closely because I have to remember the ending of X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I do not want to do. But man, it's a solid X-Men movie, especially having so recently watched X-Men Origins Wolverine. I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I didn't think that I was going to be because it did not get advertised well. I know I've mentioned that on this, but
lots of historical goodies. Although I know it's what the story has to be. I'm not entirely convinced. And maybe I just think really highly of people in general. Like, I don't think they would go, oh, those mutants just stop some submarine. Let's fucking just missile the shit out of them. Everyone, Russians, you agree? Americans and Russians during the Cold War, you agree? Let's all fight these one people immediately.
Though, like in the movie's defense, like you weren't around during the Cuban Missile Crisis times, and I could easily imagine that kind of tension being like.
I cannot easily imagine them
like
going, let's team up.
Like, but I think they would use any excuse to go like, oh man, Russians aren't there, way worse. Let's shoot somebody, damn it! Like.
Possibly just, I don't know. The tension seemed a little quick to the point, and maybe I think it's in my opinion that the movie was doing two things. It was two movies, and they did a pretty good job. Like, a lot of people aren't going to notice, they did a pretty good job of living up to both of them. But there's a movie to be said about these mutants fighting this other mutant who can absorb energy and wants to like end the world, so all mutants will rule. And there's a movie to be told about the mutants just starting to come out and people not being okay with them, and Charles and Magneto taking very diametrically opposed positions on that. So the fact they're like, okay, we should be the bad guy, and now like, okay, the humans have to immediately launch all these missiles. It's sort of you resolve one plot, and you sort of try to feel like, okay, you have to sort of wrap things up and get into like the Charles and Magneto stuff, and then they're like, all right, missiles, everything.
Yeah.
So I did really enjoy it. There were times I was like, I would like more out of both of these plots. I would like a little more out of both of these, because really, Kevin Bacon, he's sort of a background villain, and then he gets killed.
Yeah, like he doesn't do much, but like I never really care, because I think what you come to this movie for is the Charles and Magneto.
Yeah, which is what I would like out of it. I think you could do it without doing the evil. I think you could do it without the like evil villain, like trying to cause the end of the world.
Like Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah. I think there's another way you could approach it. And I haven't given enough thought. I just watched it, obviously, to like say, okay, well, here's the laid out plan. And I only say it because I hate when people just complain about things and don't say how to fix them.
Yeah.
So in time, I could sit down and hash out like, okay, well, you sort of do the story this way, you do these characters, and I imagine it'd be much more, the government using mutants, and then sort of a small unit, and then a larger body finding out, and then sort of going from there. And obviously Charles and Magneto both being in it and building on that. Also, Kevin Bacon, he wasn't bad. I thought he would be worse. He wasn't bad. Although, man, the second I saw him, I was like, that should be Gary Oldman. Why didn't you messed up? You made a mistake. You called the wrong phone number.
His Nazi look.
His Nazi look, yeah, but man, have you ever seen Gary Oldman ever? Because he's fantastic. See Book of Eli, because he's not.
He's in Book of Eli?
Yeah.
I just always assumed it was a post-apocalyptic thing, and that Denzel Washington was by himself the entire movie.
Nope, there's people, and one of them is Gary Oldman. So
all right,
so pretty solid second person to show up.
All right. I need to see that movie. I wanted to for a while.
It's enjoyable. I remember having like mixed feelings as going through it. It was one of those movies that I had the same sensation with The Invention of Lying, where it gets like halfway through and I get really nervous that it's going to be a movie that I was afraid it was going to be and I do not want it to be. But then by the end, it's like, okay, you've come to a place where it's different from what I afraid it was going to just spiral down into, and it was enjoyable, and maybe not as highly as I thought it could have been with the opening. Like, okay, I thought this was going straight up, and then it looks like it's going straight down, and then it's like, it kind of mills out. So it's pretty solid, and I mean, it's how bad can a movie with Denzel Washington and Gary Oldman be?
That's true.
So, but yeah, I really like the movie. It was a lot of fun. I don't know. I haven't adjusted enough to sort of put it in my X-Men movie rankings. And also, it's going to be a distinct disadvantage because, the other ones had more of these sort of signature characters, which you're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone who's like, woo, Havoc! Yeah, let's get some Havoc! And I guess there are some Banshee fans. How's Banshee? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know who he is. So
I know.
I saw him, I was like, oh, Banshee, I know who he is, as opposed to any of the villains.
Yeah, I mean, I know who they are too, like a lot of the characters, but I wasn't like, woo, I can't wait for Banshee on film, finally, what I've dreamed of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it.
For me, it's probably, it might be second, I think, because I think X2 is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Then probably this one, the first one, Last Stand, and then Origins.
What if you could split them up into like acts? So like, okay, that's like the first and second act of Wolverine Origins, wherever that match up.
Oh man.
Let's not do that. Let's not.
Well, it would be then the first and second act of Origins would be better than the last act of Last Stand.
Mm-hmm. You don't like Huggy Porcupine Guy?
I have no problem with Huggy Porcupine Guy.
I'm gonna get a guy knowing this shit.
That's gonna be like the first famous person you meet. You're gonna be like, oh, it's Huggy Porcupine Guy.
I'd either say that or say, why didn't you save Lost? You were so close. You could have killed the writers. Anyway, a drunk infant could have written a better ending. Trust me, I've gotten a lot of infants drunk and forced them to write papers for me.
I hear that's how you got through most of college.
It's true. Film professors are not very studious. I don't even think they read the papers, to be honest. I probably could have just handed them blank pages. Very good.
Real minimalist, avant-garde, I like it.
It's a statement on viewership and society. So, that was that, and we have what feels like 9 million movies left.
But it's really only 2.
But one of them is like 8,999,999 movies rolled into a suckfest that is Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yeah, that's next, and then we wrap it up with Kick-Ass.
Hulk dogs, man, yeah. Because remember we talked about how we're not about Hulk dogs, but we were totally about vampire dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to watch the Hulk dogs now. I wish we should have rearranged these so that way the vampire dogs would come after.
I'd be afraid, though, that then I'd see the vampire dogs and be able to think about nothing else except for the Hulk dogs.
No, man, you'd remember, because we remember the Hulk dogs immediately. We're like, oh, man,
I remember them at the end when I was like, oh, man, vampire dogs, awesome. And then I was like, oh, shit, wait.
Yeah. All right, well, yeah, Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yeah, Ang Lee's Hulk. So it's probably the only one we're going to get to tonight.
Yeah, we're probably going to get some animated stuff in now.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's not that much, and they're all not that long.
So
they're all like 80 minutes.
Yeah, we might show you like a bonus list. Bonus list.